Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. We've got a knife from Jim Skelton, a production collaboration designed by Jim Skelton, and the brand of the knife, or who it's through, is Bastards Knives, which is a company that I am completely unfamiliar with, but we're going to open this up and check it out together. This knife should be available on the Bastards Knives website, which I will link in the description for you guys to check out. This is not a review today, just an unboxing and first impressions, so we're just checking it out, but after a while, after a couple of weeks, I'll do a full review on it if you want to wait till then. Thanks so much to Jim Skelton for sending this in. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what we've got here. I believe, so there's a note here, actually. I'm going to read this to you. The Bastards Knives Tibia, designed by me, Jim Skelton. I'm reading off of a note. Based off my original custom fixed blade. I do remember that. This was launched on August 7th of 2024, and as he said, at bastardknives.com. So yeah, let's go ahead and open it up and take a look and see what we've got here. Oh wow, it's much larger than I thought it was going to be. Very cool. I think there's something in the note here about the texturing coming from, like, very specifically. It says the texture is borrowed from the James brand knife, the Barnes. My friend Ryan Coulter, who owns the James brand, I assume, company, allowed me to closely mimic his wonderful texture pattern. So, when people hear James brand or the Barnes, the first thing that they think is overpriced, which I agree with. But the texturing on that knife and the knife itself is actually really, really nice. So, as far as taking the texturing, I think that was a really, really cool idea. It looks really, really nice. Flipper tab, low profile, big ol' aggressive Warncliffe there. Kind of stridery, kind of handle, right? Strider doesn't own I'm sorry, this is not a rectangle, it's a triangle. Strider doesn't own triangles, so it's completely okay for that handle shape to be that way. But we do have a knife. It's a really weird transition there. Super aggressive with the little holes and everything. And then we have the super fine tip. The blade is made from CPM 3V. And oh, that's a nice little touch there. It's a nested liner with... That's a nested titanium liner with a steel lock bar insert. Can you use the fuller to reverse flick it? Kind of, yeah. It's not. There's not much of an aggressive lip here, probably on purpose so it doesn't get caught on whatever you're cutting. But it's deep enough that being able to reverse flick it is actually super easy. Can you, obviously, pinch open it, but can you flick it out? A little harder, but yes, you can. I'm actually getting traction from the holes that are milled in there if you push down first. Yeah, that's cool. So the flipper tab, I don't, just right off the bat, I don't think the D10 is weak. I think that the flipper tab might be slightly too low profile, but I mean for a push button, right? Like this right here, you're not getting that crisp break. However, if you dedicate to light switching it, you're okay. Maybe, I guess you might describe the D10 as medium. Just would, if you wanted that perfect leverage off of a push button flip, then it would have to be a different shape. Obviously, he was trying to go for something specific here. It looks like we have titanium, and we have a little bald spot under the clip, which is really nice. We have a sandwich construction with the backspacer here. A huge lanyard hole, but not necessarily direct. I mean, I guess it's kind of backed up further than the pocket clip. Carry depth is going to have quite a bit of the knife sticking up out of your pocket. Not necessarily the biggest deal in the world, right? I always like to have mine, not necessarily, you know, it's not like the deeper the better, right? Because how deep carry it is preference. At a certain point, though, it used to be a trend where people would have, like, tactical depth of pocket clip, which, in my opinion, is total nonsense. And they would have the pocket clip mounted clear down here, so you'd have, like, this much of the knife sticking up out of your pocket. I find that just to be a really good way to lose your knife. But I don't think the depth is necessarily anything bad. It's like approaching kind of a shallow carry, but still just fine. There's still a huge chunk of the knife. The vast majority of the knife is still in your pocket there. Very cool, very different looking, very Jim Skelton looking for sure. So who is Bastards Knives? Who's the OEM? I asked Jim about this, and he said it's definitely China. So if you're wondering, yeah, this is Chinese manufacturing. Bastard's Knives does not like to disclose their OEM. Now, before people go after them with pitchforks and torches and everything, they're not the only company that's guilty of that. So it's just a good opportunity to. And by the way, Jim doesn't like that either. You know, it's not like he was like thumbs up for that. We talked about it. But yeah, companies, you should be this like Bastard's Knives. You're watching this right now. Like that's not, you know, something that people enjoy. You should definitely disclose the OEMs you're working with. There's at this point in the knife world, there's really no reason not to do it. But more importantly, if the knife is made in China, Jim obviously was very happy to give me this information, wasn't trying to hide it at all. But that's something that should be 100% displayed like on your website. So if it isn't, you know, definitely should be on there. And also the OEM that you're working with. Yeah, definitely. That's people like to know, right? That's definitely super important. Transparency is like the number one most important thing. We've had a number of catastrophic incidents regarding lack of transparency in the knife world over the last decade. I mean, plenty before that, but some absolutely nuclear judgment day level events that had to do with lack of transparency. I'm not saying that this is that dramatic, right? I'm getting a little dramatic. They're not the only company guilty of this. There's a bunch of companies that don't like to disclose their OEMs. So that's something that they should be doing for sure. But if you want my opinion on this, whoever they're using, it appears to be an OEM that knows what they're doing. So I don't think the reason is that they want to hide that it's like some OEM that's like not known for good quality. No, it feels pretty familiar. There's a number of premier OEMs that could have done this. But as far as like action and detent and, you know, fit and finish, sheeting of the hardware, even when it comes down to like the machine finishes of the flats or, you know, the bevel down here, there's a couple that come to mind here that this really kind of is screaming. I do like the combination of the really high reflectivity satin finish and the kind of the gray of the scales here. I also really, really like that texturing. I can totally understand why he wanted to do that. Ergonomically, this is a dream, Jim. This is really cozy. I love this. And it just goes to show you that like your traditional knife handle shapes is not what limits the definition of good ergonomics. There are so many different handle shapes, or, you know, just the shape of the scales in general can come in so many different configurations other than what we normally expect from, like, here's an example of pretty much the quintessential classic knife handle shape that we see on everything. So great, this is a fine knife, pyrite light, right? We see like this, that's like your classic handle shape, and we see that repeated a bajillion times. Something like this doesn't immediately look like it's going to be ergonomic, but it's incredibly comfortable. I think a lot of that is due to the fact that the edges are knocked down and Jim knows what he's doing, right? When he's having somebody create a production version of a folding knife version of one of his fixed blades, right? I probably knows how to give him the right information there. But yeah, this is really cool. I think the note said that these come in at $340, which is definitely high, but as I've learned here, not completely recently, but fairly recently, when you do a small batch and you're working with an OEM, the cost ends up being really, really high. Like the room that's left over in order for the person who's, you know, doing the collaboration, the room for them to make money ends up being really, really narrow, right? So unless Jim ordered like 10,000 of these from the OEM, there's probably not a lot of room there, which is why this is a little bit higher price than some of the other general competition that may or may not be using exactly the same materials. What it comes down to is the rules simply are not the same for everybody, right? If it is the OEM themselves releasing a model that they plan to make thousands and thousands and thousands of, then obviously they can kind of price out their competition, right? But that's probably part of the reason why this is a little bit higher. But it is a cool knife for sure. I'm going to carry this and use it a little bit, and then I'll get back to you guys with a full comprehensive review with my complete thoughts. Let's go ahead and measure it here real quick. Definitely unique. Definitely not a... I'm not saying like the Wharncliffe is unique to this. I'm saying the combination of the blade and the handle, all of that, definitely a much more unique look than we're, you know, typically used to seeing. Sorry about the vacuum cleaner in the background. Overall length here is coming in at about 8.25 inches. Blade length 3.5. Cutting edge is about 3.45. Very close. How about weight? Weight on this guy. I guess I didn't really continue to talk about this, but the nested titanium lock bar with the steel lock bar insert, always really happy to see that. That's nice. That combined with the full tie pocket clip and the titanium backspacer there, 3V steel. I mean, we definitely have a lot of, like premium elements here. 5.7 ounces. So pretty much exactly what I expected. Yeah, this is cool. Definitely unique. I will link it down in the description, and you guys can expect a full review of this knife probably 2 to 3 weeks from now. That's going to be it for today. Thanks so much to Jim for sending this in. Make sure to follow him on Instagram and on YouTube. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex and on TikTok at the_metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.